Goodness me, not even kidding around. 10 seconds in, I can tell the animation is going to be kinda mind-blowing. Oh, cute! Right off the bat, I love this music. It's like transported me to a distant world, like some of my favourite anime and video games often do. Makes me think of Final Fantasy, this tune in particular. Props here. Basically, no one does writing this well. This is legit now the best I've ever seen it done. Second place is the excellent Jobless Reincarnation. Okay, so 2 wins here. First one is for how nicely the edits were handled, such as taking a corner, animating the characters from the front and then to a side angle, really smooth. Secondly is for the scene itself, using the drifting paper as a way by which to introduce us to the world, its technology level, its buildings, its citizens and their clothing, and the world at large, which, by the way, is also gorgeous. Also, whilst you're here, it would mean a great deal to me if you could subscribe if you're not already. I'm slowly seeing sub numbers climb back up, and I won't lie, it means more to me than it does most, I'd wager. And of course, a like and a comment are always wonderful. Beautiful scenery shot that must have taken forever to put together.
その少女の存在は密かに隠されていた。だがその少女を知る者は
Ah, my boy Dio from JoJo and so many other anime.
心を持たないただの道具だと。
Really nicely placed symbolism right there. Nothing overt and in your face, just quick and to the point.
Violet ちゃん、大丈夫？怪我はない。
Animating multiple characters moving within one frame like it's no big deal.
文字を書くことは状態復帰にもいいと言われましたので。それで少佐は
Mikasa from Attack on Titan!
では、ご無事なのですね。対戦には勝ったとお医者様から教えていただきま
I've got a good ear for music. I can just feel already in my bones that this is something else. There feels like there's a lot of emotion, passion in the music itself. It's crazy good, even this early on. I think the only other anime doing eyes like this are Attack on Titan. Some of the most beautiful detail you'll see on eyes in that one and right here.
退院祝い。好みが分かんなくて3つ買ったんだけど、どうかな？
不要です。
Even this early on in the first episode, a lot is being done to formulate a position in the viewer's mind about this character. But the best thing about it is how subtle it is, how intriguing it is, her passion for the Major, her frantic reaction upon noticing the missing brooch, the seeming lack of emotion to anything and anyone else.
少し長い旅になるよ。この辺りの線路が爆撃で壊れて使えないから。 On top of the previous win for non-exposition when building the main character, props for also doing the same thing for world building. No long monologue, no narration filling in the blanks. We're instead being filled in via what can only be described as extremely natural conversation.
Violet, 君は生きて自由になりなさい。
I won't show everything just in case, but have one here for the showcasing of a darker side to the anime, or at least for not being afraid to show it.
ここにいたの。
Non-opportunistic wind cliche. A wind that's the opposite of the sin for when the wind only blows after a very important statement has been made instead of naturally just doing its thing. Ugh, just some really disgustingly great looking scenery shots and CGI in this one. Kinda smacks of Demon Slayer type visuals so far.
だから自分の親戚筋で一番信頼できるエヴァーガーデン家に
It's extremely brief, but this here is what I was talking about during win number 6 and also number 15, just letting the visuals do the job of building the world. So few do this, so I really appreciate it when I see it. Super realistic looking room right here. I'm always trying to praise that lately. I did the same thing in Demon Slayer Season 2 where so much effort went into it there as well. Just loads of dedication in both.
復旧にはまだまだ時間がかかりそうです。
They didn't have to make their job harder by having a see-through cup, but they did it anyway because they're awesome.
アダマンギンでできた腕です。 武骨ですが頑丈です。
Whoa, plot twist. Really intriguing. Actually putting pictures in picture frames. Have a little look and you'll often spot that they're a solid block of colour or just empty.
ギルベルト少佐はどうして私をここに置くのですか？私が腕を失って武器としての価値がなくなったからですか？ですが不要になったのなら処分されるべきです。
I felt a really odd sense of melancholy here, or even full-on sadness perhaps. Her reaction to being left behind. I felt that. To losing purpose, to being cut out of the loop. I felt that too. That was excellent considering how few words on the matter were uttered. After the previous win mentioned during number 19, I can't not drop another quick one for them again doing the same thing. Just little flashes, but they build a story crazily well.
で、なんだよ。ってーな、なんなんだよ。
お前今わざと
Shigaraki from My Hero Academia.
ここに書いてある通り別にそこの棚に入れるんだ。郵便物はどっさりあるけど焦んなくていいからな。
Can I just say, praise be to anime, man? Like, seriously, much the same as video games, I just adore being transported into another world so seamlessly every time, enjoying a new and different story. Yet another scenery shot of that!
バイオレットちゃん食べていいよ。
食べます。
Also, they can have one here for sound effects. Not normally something I issue out wins for, but I noticed earlier on her hands had a very unique sound to them, and now even picking up the cutlery had the same effect.
でも屋敷に置くのは
問題あったんだな。
お前俺がやんわり言ってんのに
That was unexpected. Goodness me, the effort that must have gone purely into set design alone is breathtaking. From this street view to the building, wow.
君が世界のすべてだった。君の気持ちが知りたい。
Astonishing levels of detail in this brief war scene that also further serves to build the world and its events prior to this episode.
の心を分かりたい。今は離れているけれど。
Also, though, some gorgeous animation right there on the battle.
旦那様、自動式人形サービスのご利用誠にありがとうございました。
Well, now that's just ridiculous.
もうやめてくれ。生きるんだバイオレット。
The brilliant Hisoka from Hunter x Hunter. Man, this guy's getting everywhere lately in what I've been covering. Also, though, obviously cannot show it, but her striving to save him, in spite of not having any arms at that point, was incredible and shocking in equal measure. Made me think of that moment with Rem from ReZero.
心から愛してる。
I always appreciate it when an anime manages to touch my heart in such a way as this, making me quite emotional within the confines of its first episode, and that's exactly what happened here. That's writing, voice acting, and music at its finest to achieve that.
ようギル元気にしてたか相変わらず神気臭い顔だな
Whole horse from JoJo!
おい起きろ
Seeing their first interaction, the state she was in was quite heartbreaking actually.
大丈夫？問題ありません。そう。じゃあまずはやってみましょうか。あとは文字に対応した指の位置を覚えて。この教則本通りに打ってみて。
It's strange, you know, even when it's a simple scene such as this, fantastic animation and music can captivate the viewer. To me, it means I'm watching something special, something different. That's the case here. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate attention to detail like this. That is insane.
もう少し静かにね。
This moment right here immediately made me think Koei no Katachi, and turns out I was right. So massive win here for this amazing studio. So sad to think about what happened so soon after this aired.
もういい。も 働く女はいいわ。お前ら焼きそば
いりません。それとお前っていうのやめてください。
焼きそばわし食うよ。
Made me laugh for some unknown reason. The cars driving past and this box closing moment are the perfect times to use CGI. This nighttime view, the reflections in the window at the same time, and then another scenery shot of the town cannot go by without a mention. So good!
どこがどのように気に入らないのか、
どけよ。
具体的かつ適切な指示を速やかにしてください。
She's a badass!
もっと追いかけてほしいのが女ってもんでしょ。私だって愛してたのよ。
Such a casual way of building a character like this, even if she might not be in another episode. There's no lack of effort to introduce a complex person for the scene, also demonstrating how humans aren't straightforward and have a wide range of emotions that can be confusing, which aids Violet as a character.
道路の仕事にこだわんないで他の仕事探した方がいいんじゃねえの？
I spoke about this recently in Demon Slayer Season 2, but how a scene is built is also something that's often not paid attention to. But look at this busy street. Between the people walking past, the cars, the sounds of the road and streets, it makes it feel real and lived in. It's excellent. Who would have thought that, again, just like in Demon Slayer, I'd be praising environmental effects like the rain, the sound effects from that rain, and the pooling of the water into puddles. That transition and then the following scenery shot.
更衣室にタオルがあるから。
どちらにせよ彼女バイオレットにドール。
Putting like 45 frames into this because they're legends.
小説家でありながら盲目となり執筆できなくなった妻モリーのために制作したものだが。
Fun fact, the story here is pulling from real life. I won't go too in depth, but there's truth to a story of a man who created the typewriter for his love who went blind at a young age. This later became a novel too, and it seems the typewriter was indeed created to aid the blind as an original purpose.
士官学校時代からの友人だ。ブーゲンビリア家の一族だよ。
I won't keep going on about it, but it's crazy to me how well the official soundtrack fits with the scenes they accompany. It's very rare that I keep picking out and noticing tunes, but it's happening again and again here.
あいつはもう戻ってこない。
Even though to me I think I felt it was obvious that he was gone, I'm dropping a win just in case it wasn't obvious to others who felt a plot twist win would be required. So plot twist!
あなたの声が
Whilst if I'm being totally honest, the singing itself isn't to my own personal tastes, the piano work is exceptional and the animation gorgeous throughout, so highly deserving of a lovely and relaxing ED win. The first 30 seconds of this episode again demonstrating how well this studio can create truly lived-in environments.
知らない言葉を覚えてゆくたび
A really soulful OP, that one. Just an all-round nice track, but for me the standout part was really the visuals. They focus on an amazing contrast between the prior war and the beauty of the land she is now a part of, and that was really vividly portrayed to my eyes. Plus, you know your boy is a sucker for scenery shots, of which there were plenty. Delicious looking food.
それで手紙になっているつもりですか？
もしかしたら私の話が抽象的すぎたのかも。
These bits just divulge an excellent look into the mind of Violet and provide an oddly emotional response from me, perhaps due to her incredibly cute, worried/confused complexion upon hearing something negative about her work. I never thought that I'd be watching an anime and rooting for the protagonist when she gets good grades on her writing skills and then worried for her when slightly scolded. It's weird, man!
バイオレット、いつか君にもライデンから見えるあの美しい景色を見てほしい。
Just as I mentioned from the OP, here's another great showing of the contrast between her time at war and then now at her new home. It's seriously well done, even matching the position of the sun in both scenes.
ただいま。すぐご飯作るから。
displaying the casualty of war, one of a great many actually, but in this case, a man home from battle, now injured, drinking himself into oblivion and making those around him, namely his sister, sick with worry and changing her life, demonstrated really well here.
少佐すみません
Have one here for her as a side character. I love characters like this one because they demonstrate a great kindness often lacking in the real world. She looks after her brother even though he doesn't seem to appreciate it. She works hard for her parents even though she can't see them, and is even taking the time to help Violet, even though right now she doesn't get much of anything back from her.
実はね私の両親死んじゃったの残った家族はお兄ちゃんだけ本当はただ生きててくれるだけで嬉しいの
Naturally, given what I just wrote, this came as quite the saddening shock, but I'm leaving in the previous win, because this moment only serves to add fuel to the fire of the point I just made about her kindness.
お兄ちゃん生きてきてくれて嬉しいのありがとう
As mentioned in win number 59, I found myself so oddly proud of her for being able to break free for the first time and write something with substance and meaning. Bless her heart, and then you get this amazing reaction from him, proving how well it worked and touched him.
良きドールとは人が話している言葉の中から
So very much proudness!
彼女はお人形のような服装でちょっと軍人さんみたいでちょっと変わったとっても素敵な女の子でした
And then this happy ending between the two of them. A fractured relationship turned whole. Such a sweet moment, and I can see now where all the comments regarding waterworks come from.
うちの田舎でドールになったの今のとこ私だけなんです
Bless your damn hearts for choosing to animate this!
カザリは山の中腹にある村で酪農と農業が主な産業なのですね
You know your boy here is very much a big fan of any kind of maps in his anime. You take that win, you sassy git.
大電シャフトリヒ北東部には鉄や銅といった資源があったためガルダリク帝国が侵略行為に及びました
それで戦争が起きたんだもんねうちのおじさんも志願するって息巻いてたんだけどおばさんが反対して
Using this very natural part of their conversation to wonderfully pour in some lore sauce over the episode, and I gotta say, in spite of being high in calories, it's delicious. I don't even know what I'm writing. Getting to see a vastly different area from the prior city, and my word, they did enough make it very much different. A great example is the sound of the animals. This is used in place of people and cars and such to create yet another lived-in feel, but very different due to it being more out in nature. That's so well done, bruh.
死に行く暇もないくらい仕事しまくってたらちょっと痛めちゃって
事実に反します
私結構指名もらっちゃうから
それも事実と反し
痛いあやばい痛み
It's only for a second, but look at it!
それに根拠は判然としないのですがこの景色が大したもてなしという言葉にふさわしい気がします
What a moment, man. So simple in premise, but handled so elegantly.
出したの
God damn, the animation is just so good! I just had to blurt that out here. I'm in love!
アイリスアイリス
私彼に振られたの
裏腹だったり嘘をつく場合もあり正確に把握するのは私にはとても困難なのです
Let's drop one here as well for how effortlessly emotion is carried out in their faces. I can only imagine the sheer volume of effort required to do enough frames to display the feelings.
私だっていつもちゃんと人の気持ちが分かっているわけじゃないもの
そうなのですか
まあね
It's really interesting delving into the topic of human emotions, how everyone struggles to some degree numerous times in their lives because they really are that complex, and that's nicely shown here.
私は少佐の愛してるが知りたくてドールになったのです
How can can the music possibly be this good? The last time I clicked with so many tracks was the outstanding Vivi, of which I've covered by the way, and it got terrible views. Such a shame considering it's a brilliant anime.
でももう少しだけ私を見守っていてください。
I can't spend the entire anime praising the music, and I swear that's one of the last times. I just couldn't ignore that. It was lovely.
これが未来のライデン1の人気ドールから大好きなお父さんとお母さんに送る記念すべき第1通目の手紙です。
Oh, this anime pulls at my heartstrings with very little effort. I liked this moment. I could be off, but for me it was like her accepting both herself and where she came from originally, instead of trying to be someone who she isn't like when she first arrived.
はい、後で請求書をお渡しします。
え、お金取るの？
代筆は仕事です。
じゃあ昼食3日分で。
規定の金額に足りません。
そこは社内割引で。
Kawaii. This anime has some stupidly beautiful scenery.
バイオレットだ。成長すれば君はきっとその名前にふさわしい女性になる。君は道具ではなくその名が似合う人になるんだ。
Learning how she got her name in just a really weirdly emotional scene again? I swear it's that damn piano man. Gets the eyes on the verge of leaking.
ドロッセルの公開恋文は知っているな。
ドロッセルは我々南部連合の一員でしたね。
そうだ。
Two wins here. Firstly, it's for the world map. I love world maps, you feel me? Secondly, it's for the lore drop here. Super interesting world events transpiring right on the outskirts of the main story.
これは戦争が終わったことを周辺諸国に告げる明確な儀式なのだよ。
I love attention to detail like this. For a border between former hostile countries, of course you're going to see buildings like this. Dedication!
バイオレットちゃん、今回のは大変な仕事だと思うけど、ここ数ヶ月でたくさんの依頼をこなしてきたから。
Get out of here! She's in another country! We're getting to see another country!
それともう少し表情豊かに話せないの？
少々お待ちくださいませ。
I had wondered where this image came from, that I slightly altered for the Sins version to make it look more funny. She's such a lovable weirdo!
私はこの花の都からあらゆる事柄にあなたを結びつけてため息を漏らす毎日なのです。指定通り月と花が入っていますね。
お前、恋文うまいじゃないの。
Yeah, she really is. Take one here for that letter. You've shocked me, girl. You've gotten good.
私の恋の物語であり、情熱の対象であるあなたについて馳せる思いは溢れんばかりです。
あの泣き方はそういうものではありませんね。思い通りにいかないときに見せる泣き顔です。
It's funny because I knew why she had that reaction straight away, and yet on the surface, it's an alright letter. But it certainly wasn't about love or affection, it was more base and about physical lust. Hell, maybe I'm getting good at this whole writing thing after 5 years.
ねえ、今だけドロッセルの王女をやめてもいいかしら。私が10歳になる日、ドロッセルでは盛大な宴が開かれたの。会う相手全てが見合いの相手。誕生日を祝われてる気が全くしなかったわ。アルベルタもいない異国でもし嫌われてしまったら。
This moment strikes me too because it reminds me that love and the topic of love in this is such an important key factor as she goes through life and learns about it, and it also makes me think about how everyone experiences it differently, even royalty like her.
相手方のドールと今後の手紙の協議をしてまいりました。次はあなたが手紙を書いてください。あなた自身の言葉で。
Violet is growing. I'm so proud. She keeps on getting better and better. Get out of it.
覚えています。あなた、私の泣き顔を見て笑いましたね。あなたが泣いていいと言ってくれた声を、その時の優しさをいつまでも覚えています。
年相応の君が可愛くて笑ったんだ。悪気があったわけじゃない。
ごめんよ。
2 wins here again. Firstly, for animating a montage. I'm always a massive fan of that. Secondly, is for this back and forth and how invested the people are in a true love story and actual correspondence between them both. It was really sweet, especially the soldiers chiming in.
結婚しよう、シャルロッテ。結婚してくれないか。
Very sweet scene. Just kind of wish the age groups were different, but you need to keep in mind the history they're pulling from, where this kind of thing was normal in the past, and also that getting married didn't mean doing anything immediate, romantic or otherwise.
今も本当は泣きそうなの。
泣いてはいけません。せっかくの門出に。
Taking the effort to do a reflection here. That was such an incredibly sweet scene right there. Not gonna lie.
噂には聞いていたが、本当に自動手記人形になったんだな。貴様が。
Unexpected plot twist.
大陸中から来た女たちがこっちに向かってくるぜ。ただの代筆屋だろ。
Thorfinn from Vinland Saga. Some of the scenery shots really do rival anime like Jobless Reincarnation, and from a fantasy standing, they really fit the bill too. Oh, that's the one from the Sin's thumbnail. Yeah, now that makes sense with what she's wearing. Great scene, she looks hilarious. Speaking of jobless reincarnation, very few anime show as much attention to detail on the books and such too. I know I've already mentioned the writing of the letter by hand at the very start, but this is a separate but equal win for the detail inside.
最初は任務だと思っておりました。ですが、いろいろなお客様のもとでその思いを紡ぐ。時にこのような古い書物を書いた方の考えを受け取ってそれを書き記すというのはとても特別で素晴らしいことだと思えるようになりました。
Her verbalizing of the work she does now and how it differs in her mind to when she first started doing it. A very sweet reveal.
私も孤児です。それに私は皆様がおっしゃるようなろくな生き方もしておりません。
いや、君は違うよ。なあ。
そうさ、あいつの母親なんて。
私は親の顔も知りません。
Violet being an absolute bro in this moment. Proud of her!
無表情だとよく言われます。こういう顔です。
It's an odd win, but I really enjoy how she barely moves her face. But because she often doesn't show much expression, when she does slightly animate it, it's like it speaks volumes to me. That's such a nice touch.
水星の尾が一番綺麗に見えるのが日の出前の東の空だ。スープも飲んでろ。
Ah, it's such a sweet scene!
俺の母親は流れ物の旅芸人だった。今思えば幸せないい家族だったと思う。だがある日、父が帰ってこなくなった。シャヘルの文献収集を担当していた父は大陸中を回って貴重な書物を集めていた。
I can really appreciate the realism behind his story, even if it's just the added note that his work often took him to dangerous places. Like, they didn't have to add that. But also it follows that him being in charge of getting the rare books would also mean he'd have money, maybe a lot of it, and thus bandits could have easily targeted him. That's just a nice element that I appreciate when telling a story.
なあ、もし俺との契約期間中にその人が危険な状況に陥っているって聞かされたらどうする？
その問いには選択肢がなく、旦那様にどう謝罪しようかと。
This admittedly incredibly human reaction from her, which I genuinely didn't expect. I thought, oddly enough, the job would come first, but no, that's an extremely distant second to the major.
人生でたった一度きりの出会いなんだ。
はい、見ています。素晴らしいです。
It really is.
でも今決めた。俺もお前と同じように大陸中を回れ命を落とすかもしれない。でも俺はその道を選ぼうと思う。
はい。
同じ旅人同士だ。バイオレット・エヴァーガーデン。
はい。
just an incredibly beautiful end to the episode with his statement and the stunning looking views, especially as she enters the sunlight. My word, they know how to edit together a scene.
閉じ込められていた扉の向こうに歩き出す勇気を彼女がくれたのだから、いつかきっと。
Go on. One more for that. I never thought just words could touch me so much, but I suppose it's the writing, the voice acting, and the stupendous animation that just throws so much emotion into it. I don't know if this was CGI or what, but that's one of the best looking crowds I've ever witnessed. You know it'll get you wins, don't you? That's why you keep doing it. Because you know I cannot ignore that and pretend it's not a work of damn art.
実はこの部屋で
ここかテラスだな。書斎はあるが、あそこは狭くて息苦しい。
Similar to a previous win, just have another one here for the sheer dedication to create the environments the scenes take place in. I mean, just look at it!
何やってるんだ？
料理に挑戦しております。
I love stuff like this. I don't even know why fully.
棚にあった酒をどこにやった？
隠しました。執筆作業の妨げになりますし、旦那様ご自身にとってもよくはありません。
For some reason, these moments mean so much to me, where she shows her human side growing more and more each episode. It's a work of art, though!
自分がこのオリーブという少女と同じように喜んだり悲しんだり不安になったりするのは考えなければ父親が待つ家に帰れません。
She keeps on learning. She can't be stopped.
オリーブの物語が完結しません。旦那様は心に何か隠していらっしゃるのではないですか？
In terms of creative editing, that's fantastic. How it looks like the camera is following along and then continues for just a moment after he stops.
オリビア。
大丈夫。いつかきっと見せてあげるね。お父さん。
久しぶりの娘の笑顔。穏やかで優しい日々。だが。
Yeah, that is incredibly sad, especially seeing her energy and life force taken away as she looks frail and old beyond her years. That was rough.
大切な人と別れるということは二度と会えないということはこんなにも寂しくこんなにも辛いことなのですね。
Yeah, go on. She's great.
完成させるよ。オリーブの物語を。少女は帰ってきて父親と再会する。何辛い冒険をしたとしても最後はハッピーエンドだ。主人公も観客も幸せになる。いや、してみせる。
Massive credit to him as well as a grieving man, so deeply hurt by a cruel world, and yet still he wants to use his gift to ease the pain of others and make them happy with his book. Ugh, this episode tears at my heart.
いつかきっと見せてあげるね。お父さん。
あと何千回だってそう呼ばれたかった。死なないで欲しかったな。生きて大きく欲しかったな。
Beautiful. No other word better describes that scene than just that. Beautiful. Both the animation and the music, and of course the scenes of her as a child, happy and smiling and growing up. A father wanting the very best for his child. Oh man. Take 2 wins.
散歩は歩いていたと思います。旦那様。
生きて
いいのですか？
自由になりなさい。
武器として人を殺めてきた私がそれでいいのですか？
These moments are so important to her character arc, or at least to any great character arc, where there must be some turmoil in their story, and that's imparted so well here as she struggles deeply with her past and whether or not she deserves a future herself.
浮かばれるわね、亡くなったギルベルトも。
亡くなった。
Oh no.
バイオレットちゃん、辛くても受け入れるんだ。バイオレットちゃん。
I really couldn't have timed win number 127 much better if I'd tried to, in all honesty. Take one here for the obvious turmoil in her story. Violet being violent! You created this image only for it to be shown for 1.45 seconds, you bunch of crazy legends! Getting to see more of her sad background, something I've been eager to find out more on for 7 long episodes so far. Tell me more!
演習場での奴の姿を君も見ただろう。人を殺めるだけが取り柄で、他に何の役にも立たん。買えるだけ使って役に立たなくなれば戦場に捨ててくればいい。
あの子はまだ。
くだらん。まったく君の偽善には付き合っておれん。命令だ。以上。
I may be reading into this moment too deeply, but for me, I liked it because it showed the likely corruption in the higher-ups in the military, where he uses a lackadaisical attitude to try and get his way. Oh, don't be concerned for her. She's just a weapon, and when you're done with her, just leave her out there on the battlefield. But when the type of talk he would use among friends and cohorts fails to work, he just angrily shouts it as an order instead. Like I said, I may be reading into it, but I'd like to know your thoughts down below all the same.
ガルダリク連合軍はボチアッチャに侵攻を開始した。直ちにボチアッチャの首都カプリア全面の川で防衛線を張ったが、現在は持久戦に突入。
As a massive fan of history and video games, this sort of stuff is right up my alley. I enjoyed it in games such as Fire Emblem Three Houses, and in history I enjoy learning about Roman sieges and pitched battles and such, and of course naturally I likes it in my video games, you feel me?
少佐、見張りの兵です。
Weirdest win goes to people actually whispering when they should be. I can't tell you how many anime and video games I've seen and played where they're stealthily 3 feet away from an enemy and yet talking normally. Seeing this other, much darker side to her character, and even though we got a very brief glimpse of it from back in episode 1, I believe, I still genuinely found it quite shocking, as to me, she's an entirely different person.
少佐はいらっしゃいますか?
Beautiful street level scene from the glow to the vibrant but not over the top colour palette used.
どうした?
少佐の瞳があります。
I never would have thought that her whole reason for wanting the gem in the first place would have been so sweet, but it really was. I mean, they basically told us everything back in episode 1, but I like the whole scene.
ありがとうございます。
I think in this moment it all came to the forefront of his mind, what they were having this young girl do on the battlefield, and perhaps in his head it's guilt, since he's in charge of her, he's winning battles due to her, but again, not revealing it via heavy exposition is such a plus for me. Some seriously smooth and unexpected action! Animating multiple people moving within one scene again like it's nothing. Then the very end of the episode gets one final win for yet more action that luckily can all be shown due to their creative editing. And of course, the final moment where the Major gets shot and her reaction. There's like few things worse than that. He's somewhat okay, but then receives another shot, this time to the gut. That's awful.
私を置いて逃げろ。
できません。少佐を連れて逃げます。
私は
Brilliant voice acting on display here from her, filled with more emotion than she's shown in most of the prior episodes. Obviously now can't show it, and they're not pulling any punches, but just like I mentioned 2 wins back, this is even more awful, losing both her arms like that, because one guy is hounding them whilst wounded.
バイオレット、君は生きて自由になりなさい。
Can I just say, I'm leaving a win here because I believe it was genius to show all of this at the start, then go through in a very methodical fashion why he meant so much to her, only to then bring it around and show the result. That's such a creative and organic way of building their relationship and how much he meant to her.
おそらくあいつは砲撃の瞬間君を守ろうと突き飛ばしたのか
I figured that's what happened and wanted to hold off on the win until it was confirmed, so have it now.
行こうバイオレットちゃん
どこに
It's such a small detail, but they spread out the dampness as the clothes get more and more wet. Ah, this studio!
何かあったのか
ケスクレールの町がガルタリクの和平反対派に襲撃を受けました。
状況は
制圧しましたが、まだ周辺の警戒を解ける状態ではありません。
Such tasty low all of a sudden. I'm up for seconds.
境遇がどうであれ経緯や理由が何であれしてきたことは消せない
だったら忘れて一からまた
忘れることもできないだろ
I really like this whole scene because in most anime people barely have a human side, so to see people struggling with the things they did in wartime is excellent. Another anime which touched on this was Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. It just pays sometimes to see that side. Seeing these raw emotions from her with again excellent voice acting.
あんたは一本裏手を頼むよ。どれ一つ取ったって誰かの大切な思いだからな。
This old man perhaps inadvertently bringing her back from the brink.
ドールがドールに手紙を書くなんて変かもしれないけれど、でも伝えたかったの。心配してるって、あなたのこと待ってるって。
And then these two in their heartfelt letter providing another much needed hand of support for her, reminding her of the things she has done for others entirely on her own, not because of any orders, but because she wanted to do it. She carried it out and changed people's lives for the better. Seriously poetic.
今日スペンサーさんって人があなたに代筆を頼みたいって来たわよ。妹さんに感謝とお詫びの手紙を書きたいんですって。
It's a small win, but all the same, I greatly appreciate seeing that story come to fruition. It's really pleasing to see him back on good terms with his sister and doing well, and it makes me smile.
同僚が知らせてくれたのです。手紙で。それは私が生まれて初めてもらった手紙です。身をもらうというのはとても嬉しいことなのだと分かりました。
妹に手紙を書くなんてなんか照れくさいが。 でもあいつのおかげで仕事も決まった。
Then we get these two new reminders of the things she actively helped change in others' lives. And man, that music, the style of the anime, it's so uplifting at times.
私は自動式人形でいていいのでしょうか。生きていていいのでしょうか。
Always worthy of a big win when an anime decides to forego its ED in order to give us yet more precious content.
してきたことは消せない君が自動式人形としてやってきたことも消えないんだよバイオレット・エヴァーガーデン
Then another one for the end to his statement. You can't ever undo the things you've done, but that certainly doesn't mean the things you're doing now and in the future have no meaning. They're just as important, if not more so for her now. An amazingly touching and true sentiment.
それとご挨拶。いらっしゃいませ。
Ah, bless her heart.
かしこまりました。作業はどちらでなさいますか？
それじゃあ明るいサンルームの方でお願いしようかしら。
This anime absolutely loathes exposition. Like, we see her clearly in bed when she's receiving guests. That's not normal. Then we see her face looks tired, a little gaunt, and now she struggles to get out from the chair. And all the while, Violet Evergarden hasn't felt the need to tell us anything. They've just been showing. That basically true to real life reaction.
そうね、お話しするとか何かして遊ぶとか。
それは私の担当外の作業です。ですが、少しの間でしたら。
It's really calming to my soul to see her back in such a good place, back to growing happily.
ねえ、誰にお手紙書いてるの？
お嬢様、何かご用があっていらしたのでは？
エリスは帰っちゃったし、お母さんはもうお休みになってるし。
それではお嬢様、もうお休みになられては？
どうして？わかったわ。寝るもん。あなたも寝ないとお母さんに怒られるんだからね。
Take one in general for this girl. I think we can all to some degree understand her plights from one point in time in our lives. Feeling out of the loop, feeling lonely, and like with all emotions and characters in Violet Evergarden, this is portrayed very realistically.
違うの。バイオレットにリボンをつけてもらおうと思ったの。
奥様、少しだけ休憩をいただいてもよろしいでしょうか？できましたよ、お嬢様。
本当はバイオレットにリボンをつけてほしいんじゃないの。
I swear I've never enjoyed such a little thing as a character slightly growing bit by bit like this before. Normally it's the big changes that sway me, but seeing her subtly understanding the girl's feelings that I brought up in the previous win, and now opting to spend a little time with her in place of her mother is incredibly sweet. And by the way, the best bit is yet again, they don't do this via exposition. Violet hasn't mentioned anything.
もうやめて！お母さん！もうやめて！大丈夫だから向こうへ行っててちょうだい。どうして手紙を書くの？
God, it's like physically painful to watch this now. I totally understand the girl's feelings. Being pushed away like this is awful to see, even though there's obviously no ill intention behind it at all. In fact, it's for very good reason. But the emotions are displayed so well it makes me empathize way more than normal.
お母さんは嘘ばっかり。嘘じゃないわ。だってお母さんちっとも良くならないじゃない。すぐに元気になるって言ったくせに。お母さんがいなくなったら私一人よ。これからずっと一人になるなら手紙なんて書かないで今私と一緒にいて。
Man, this horrific notion that she's more aware of the situation than anyone thought possible. Not running on the spot. Can't ignore that man. So many frames.
誰にもどうにもならないことなのです。
This whole scene. Fantastic voice acting from the girl too.
お嬢様。
あれ？
That's so sweet it hurts!
それからご本読んでおままごとして。
Well, that ripped my heart out. Damn.
アン、8歳の誕生日おめでとう。悲しいことがたくさんあるかもしれない。頑張ることが多くてくじけているかも。でも負けないで。アン、10歳の誕生日おめでとう。背も伸びてずいぶん大きくなったんでしょうね。18歳の誕生日おめでとう。もう立派なレディーね。好きな人ができたかしら。あなたが選ぶ人ならきっととても素敵な人よ。
She wrote the letters to her daughter to still be with her as she grew older. Never thought that could be why she was doing it. Take 2 wins for that.
アンをずっとずっと見守ってるわ。
That's one of the most beautiful sentiments and moments in any anime I've ever seen. In fact, in any media I've ever watched. Truly and genuinely a bright and beautiful moment to witness. Another 2 wins.
あのお屋敷に一人残されて、私お屋敷ではずっと泣くのを我慢していました。
届くのよ、あなたの書いた手紙が。それに遠く離れていても。
Dear Lord, this anime in this episode. It's brutal, man, but seeing her like this for the first time for someone other than the Major, that hits hard, dude. Kicking off this episode with some much appreciated lore surrounding the nation to the north, now engulfed in civil war between those avoiding more bloodshed and those wanting more of it with former enemies. Mountainous military scenery shot.
メナス基地だ？しかもライデンシャフトリヒから来ただと？道理で薄着なわけだ。そしてここに収容所がある。いや、あったかな。実際には外部からの手助けがあったみてえだな。うちの国にも戦争を継続したい一派がいるんでね。
I so adore it when so much detail is put into an element of the story, such as why these postal workers cannot deliver to the base, how the Civil War started and why, and taking into account things like weather, handing her a thicker coat and the things they wear. It's amazing!
でも、あの山を越えるのは
可能です。後期と、そして優秀なパイロットがいれば。
面白い嬢ちゃんだ。
Violet being Violet with extreme prejudice.
くそー、やってやる。捨てろ。
エイダン、お願い、見捨てないで。
Gotta be wary of what I show, but have one here for the ambush. The sound effects of war in the open was done really well, and the character's reaction to his friends' deaths was perfect and heartfelt, especially when mixed with his grasping at life, desperate to survive and get to his love.
子供？
やめろ。
Getting to see Violet in super smooth action for the first time in a few episodes again.
もし二人がまた生まれ変わって夫婦になるなら、また俺を産んでほしい。だから父さんと母さんも祈って、また俺を息子にしてよ。
This incredibly sweet message from a scared son to his parents makes you realise just how horrible war really is with scenes such as this. I also don't think I've seen such a simple but beautiful premise before either. A son loving his parents so much that he would want nothing more than to be reborn once again as their son. There's something so inherently innocent and pure in that. Have another one as well for that stunning Braveheart sounding music.
なんだか寒くなってきた。父さん、母さん、マリア。マリア、キスして。ありがとう。
That just gets 2 max wins. I won't lie, I once again cried whilst writing this. His voice acting was so on point as he grew weaker and weaker. Her kindness was shown so genuinely as she held and stroked his hand. There was so much realism. He felt cold towards the end. He said he couldn't see in spite of his eyes being open. His final words full of a mixture of sadness, regret, but also an underlying hope that one day he'd see them all again. Another of the most heartfelt and touching scenes I've ever witnessed in anime.
こちらをエイダン・フィールド様より預かってまいりました。エイダン、
息子を返してくれてありがとう。
ありがとう。ありがとう。いいえ、守ってあげられなくて。
All of this, man. She, in a way, brought him back to life via his words, brought him back to them in some way that really meant something. Wow. The start of this episode doing a great job of building the wider world, from the map to the current military situation surrounding the unstable peace. It's moments like these which build everything else that goes on around Violet and forms the overall story really nicely. Yeah, that's not going by unnoticed, is it?
もうすぐ帰ってくるかな。
This anime hates exposition! It's clear that they're telling us that he sees Violet as somewhat of a daughter, but they didn't feel the need to include it overtly in the script. Love it!
近くに爆発の跡がありました。私も同行します。
ダメよ。あなたは会社に戻るの。
ですが、
なぜ貴様がここにいる？
Again, no need for exposition, but this reaction and her prior statement of refusing to be accompanied by Violet are clear signs, to me anyway, that she doesn't want Violet to go back to her prior life in any way. She's worried about her, but they didn't need a long monologue in order to show that. These parts are to me done almost as well as the other episodes, with their focus on heavy character building and emotional tones, as they delve into world building in these really well, and their war and military scenes are exceptionally well done too.
やはり命令が欲しいだけか。
違います。
違わない。貴様は道具だ。
誰も殺しません。武器はいりません。
Originally I wrote a sin here about this being a brilliant time for him to be bringing this up once again, obviously doing so sarcastically, but then I erased that sin because it was about further building her new character compared to how she used to be, turning down the gun and refusing to kill anyone anymore. I'm not able to show too much, but have one here for him saving her. The animation during the fight scene itself, and Violet staying true to herself, and saving one of the men from falling off the train during the battle itself. That! I think it's fair to say that he blames her entirely for his younger brother's demise, and that's why he's been acting the way he has towards her this whole time. So this moment means quite a lot. I don't think I've ever witnessed a scene that made me feel like I was involved so physically. I don't know if it was the outstandingly smooth animation or what, but I felt it in my arms like I was doing it myself.
そのために直ちに公正な貿易を再開し、ライデンシャフ取引は友好の証として緊急支援物資を1年分提供する。
終わったのに、戦争は終わったのに、息子は帰ってこない。俺たちのところに生まれてきてくれてありがとうって。
Everyone's safe and back at work, the amazing music and the touching moments as always coming out left, right and centre, like this old man wishing his son could be home.
分かっているはずだ。怒っているのも辛いのも君よ。君には感情がある。私と同じ心があるだろう。ないというのならその顔は何だ。そんな顔ができるんじゃないか。理不尽に言われて 腹が立つだろ。
わかりません。
嘘だ。
私は少佐の命令を聞いていたいのです。
The voice acting putting on a great scene here, and it's really important to see their full conversation from prior to the battle in order to understand what came after it.
バイオレットです。母上が会いたいと。
ああ、そうだったわ。あの子がここに引き取ってほしいと。
There's that music again, and the notion that he wanted to adopt her once the war was over.
あなたのせいではないわ。あなたが背負わなくていいのよ。リートフリートはね、もうギルベルトのことは諦めろというの。二人はね、子供の頃からそれは仲のいい兄弟だったのよ。
Ah, that's really sad, man. Seeing a picture of them as kids just adds incredible depth to all of them, including his older brother and why he did the things he did to Violet. It doesn't excuse any of it, but it certainly serves to humanize him.
だから決して忘れない。思い出すたびに辛くてもずっと思って生きていくわ。
Probably one of the most simply put universal truths in life, that even if it hurts, we remember those we loved and lost. Keep them in our hearts forever until we're gone too.
あいつの分もお前は生きろ。生きて生きて生きて。
Finally being a good man, or the best he can be at that point.
もう命令はいりません。
For the final time of the video, gorgeous scenery shot, especially with that snow, goodness me.
パパから未来の娘へ。
いつの間にやめて。
パパは君が生まれるのを待ってるよ。そして祈ってる。君がすくすく育つことを、幸せになることを、誰かを愛し愛されることを、そして君や君の子供たちの生きる未来が争いのない幸せであふれた世界でありますようにと。
This letter to his future child, crammed full of the same poetically beautiful language as I've come to expect from this masterful anime. Yeah, go on then.
親愛なるギルベルト少佐、お元気ですか？お変わりないですか？どこにいらっしゃいますか？困ったことはありませんか？そしてまた会えたらこう伝えたいのです。私は今愛してるもん。少しはわかるのです。
These 2 minutes and 5 seconds reflecting the words I wrote for win number 207. Simple but soulful words designed to pierce the heart. The music soft and full of feeling in her words, which carry so much emotion in them. A really poignant and lovely final message to her love, whilst at the same time finding a way in which to bring all of the previous episode's experiences into focus for a last time, and for all of this, they can have 2 wins.
今お初にお目にかかります。お客様がお望みならどこでも駆けつけます。自動手記人形サービスバイオレット・エヴァーガーデンです。
Then these final 2 moments, happiness spread across her face as daily life takes place around her, filling her with contentment and joy and purpose. Have one final win here for the series as a whole. It's been a very long time since I've shed so many tears during an anime, or any entertainment medium for that matter. The voice acting was superb, the characters deep and emotional, the stories varied and heartfelt, sometimes crushing, and the animation second to none in all honesty. Violet Evergarden is just one of those incredibly special anime that stick with you, or at least it will certainly stick with me for good. Thank you all for watching. A like and a comment are greatly appreciated if you want to help out, and if you want to go the extra mile, my Patreon is linked down below, where you can vote in what I cover and at the same time help me out personally. And of course I'll see you hopefully one day in the movie or in any video you choose to watch next. Bird Without a Word, Nathan Bird, Ali 50, Darth Weirdo, Isael Caldera, Tyler, Ted L, Josh, Matt the Marshmallow, Kieran Robinson, Chris Harris, Jonas Stahl, Manolo Saucedo Munoz, Steelers, Matthew Blanchett, Kim Munt, Manuel Mireles, Conito, Dark Lord Bloody Soul, Blitzcloud, Aura Keeper, Kepa, Jeffa6263, Magnus, Kevin Nelta, Brendan Krier, The Epic Commander, Sentimento, Gaten 2000, Storm 970, Inakami and Water, Kaj Vorzelman, Sebastian Ramirez, Yor Edvinson, Leaf Arnhammer, Marquez,